That was a great start to the World Cup. Russia 5, Saudi Arabia nothing. And let me just say that this definitely is one that not a lot of people thought it was going to happen. This definitely is not what everybody expected to be the opening match. I mean, everybody thought that, this was certainly a must win for Russia, and certainly maybe Russia can get like a 2-0 win. And also, I realized that in the broadcast, when they talked about these two opponents, I also realized that Saudi Arabia is not the worst ranked team in FIFA. That belongs to Russia, the host, who is actually ranked 70th in the world, and Saudi Arabia is only ranked 67. But the way, if you look at how this match gone, you wouldn't think that Russia was ranked 70th. And the thing about this match, and what, if you actually didn't watch this whole match, you will know that this is not a 5-0 game. This was never a 5-0 game. If you just look at the stats, that is probably maybe the reason you think this is a 5-0 game. But if you look at this overall game, this was probably one of the strangest 5-0 victory by Russia. I mean, this team, they had only 38% possession in this game. And most of the time during this game, they look absolutely dreadful going forward. And yet, somehow, in some way, they put 5 goals against Saudi Arabia, which kind of make me think that, if Saudi Arabia is that bad, then what is going to happen when they play even better team like Egypt or Uruguay? And I really think if they play Uruguay in this game and they perform like that against Uruguay, they are going to get absolutely destroyed. And Uruguay might as well get the record for the most goal ever scored in a World Cup, because that defense of Saudi Arabia was just absolutely dreadful. But credit obviously to Russia in terms of winning this game. Obviously, there was a lot of pressure coming into this game. Like I said, this was an absolute must-win for them. This is a game that they got to win if they have any chance of getting out of Group A, which they did. And you also got to give a big kind of shout-out and also a lot of credit to their manager, Stanislav Chicherov, who basically, despite all the critics that he has coming into this World Cup, and I was one of those critics. I was kind of like seeing the way that he selected the team and the way that he decided to bring so many youngsters into this World Cup with Russia, and he left out so many kind of veteran and more experienced guy in this team. It looked like that was not going to work out very well. But one thing that is the reason why his team got a 5-0 win is because he got the tactics absolutely spot on, and he did everything right. He did everything that a manager would want to do in order for a team to win, and that is get the tactics right, get the formation right, and also get the substitution right. And the tactics that he decided to use was the sit back and counter-attacking and trying to capitalize on mistake made by Saudi Arabia, which, believe it or not, that is what Saudi Arabia did for the entire game. I mean, I lost count how many times Saudi Arabia gave the ball away in our own half. I mean, the amount of time that they gave away in their own half literally make my Quakes team feel proud, and certainly my Quakes team defense feel world class of the way how it's been defending. I mean, it was just absolutely ridiculous how bad this Saudi defense is. And what was also very interesting is that if you look at all those 5 goals, only one of them scored by Russia that you would say that it was led to a mistake from Saudi Arabia. Only the Cheryshev goal that scored from Russia was the one that led to a mistake from Saudi Arabia giving the ball away in the own half, because Russia, for whatever reason, despite the fact that they had this counter-attacking style of play where they trying to force their opponent to make a mistake, every time they got the ball away and basically trying to attack straight away, they just look very lackluster. They just, at times, they look very slow on transition, and at times, that final ball is just so poor from them. And yet, like I said, they scored 5 goals in this game, and those 5 goals was really kind of like the five chances, the five big chances that they had in this game, and would you believe that all five of those big chances they basically put it away, which kind of also credit how clinical Russia was in this game. But yeah, obviously for Russia, I think if you look at all these five goals that they score, I think probably the most crucial one was this goal by Gazinski, who scored in the 12th minute, because Russia actually started this game very, very poorly. Saudi Arabia was all over them in the first couple of minutes, and it looked like the Saudis were potentially going to get that first goal, but eventually they did get a goal kind of against the run of play, and really that goal by Gazinski really kind of calmed things down. And there is a little bit of an argument whether or not if that was a foul by Gazinski, because he kind of shoved one of the Saudi Arabia defender down. But in my opinion, I don't think that's a foul. I think that Saudi Arabia defender went down way too easily, and basically he just got a free header and pretty much smacked that one into the back of the net. And I talked about the Cheryshev goal in the 43rd minute, which led to because of a giveaway from Saudi Arabia. And then remember how I talked about how the other thing that Cheryshev got right in terms of this game is the substitution. 3 of the 5 guys score in this game was substitute. Cheryshev, Zumba, and also Golovin, I think they were all substitute by Stanislav Cheryshev team. And what do you know? They literally repaid their manager the favor of putting them on, and they immediately made an impact. And especially that Zumba's goal from Russia. I mean, he literally came 90 seconds into the game and he literally scored. And the way that Cheryshev basically celebrated, I'll tell you what, I have heard a lot of Russian fans tell me that Cheryshev is one of the guys that is not really a manager that really celebrate emphatically, not like a Jurgen Klopp kind of celebration where he go emphatic kind of way. And the way that he celebrate that they said that is very rare that has happened. But I guess that's what happened when you're a manager and you just put one of your guys on, and literally 90 seconds later he scored, and it just makes you like, that has to be the best feeling you can get as a manager, where one of the guys that you just brought in and he immediately made an impact on the team. But yeah, and then of course the 4th goal by Cheryshev could potentially be a early contention for a goal of the tournament. And this goal was actually similar to what happened yesterday in that Rapids versus Fire game, where Alexander Katai kind of I wouldn't say chipped it over the keeper, but he kind of hit a little kind of curler up and then just curled it back down into the back of the net. Well, that is exactly what happened in this goal by Cheryshev. He basically just did the same thing. He actually hit it off his left foot, which I think that's his weaker foot, and he basically put that one into the back of the net. Certainly an early contention for goal of the tournament. And then Golovin with the icing on the cake with a wonderful free kick. And yeah, I mean, this was a huge victory for Russia, and this will really give them a lot of momentum going forward. I mean, as I said many times before, the pressure and the way that there was so many questions on the wall on Russia coming into this World Cup, and of whether or not are they actually going to make it out of the group, even though they got probably the easiest group out of any other team. And with this 5-0 win, and the fact that now they have a +5 goal differential, and just saying that if you're a Egyptian fan and if you're a fan of Egypt, this is bad news for you. Like I said before in the preview, where, if that next match between Russia versus Egypt, and if that game ends in a draw, and, if that game ends in a draw, and maybe if Russia lose to Uruguay and so does Egypt, and then Egypt beats Saudi Arabia, that means that they're tied on points, and that means that goal differential will be the thing that they look at. And right now with Russia and how they have a +5 goal differential, yeah, that means that Egypt's got to make sure when they face against Saudi Arabia, they better make sure they score more than 5 goals. Now, I'm not saying that if you're an Egypt fan, you should really just panic right now and said that we have to get ahead of Russia. If we tie with Russia and it go into goal differential, that is going to be the end of us. No, it's not that. It's still early days. Egypt still haven't played a game. And maybe Egypt can surprise Uruguay with a win. And if that is the case, then that is definitely bad news for Russia. Because, yeah, that Egypt beating Uruguay and even getting a draw against Uruguay, that just shipped the pressure back to Russia. It's funny how these thing kind of works in terms of the group stage, where right now it seemed like Egypt is kind of like under a little bit of pressure, but if they have a good performance against Uruguay, the pressure goes back to Russia. But we'll see how that is going to be tomorrow, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the match preview, which I will do right after this, and I'll probably repeat myself again in that match preview. And, you know, going forward for Russia, you know, this obviously is a good win, but I hope they won't get too carried away for this. They were playing against Saudi Arabia, who just look absolutely awful, and they're probably one and done. And there is still a lot of issue going forward for them. I mean, they just, you know, their defense was pretty good in this game, but Saudi Arabia didn't really kind of challenge them, even though they had majority of the possession. And the fact that going forward, they look really lackluster going forward at times. But either way, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button. Are you surprised that Russia got that big of a victory against Saudi Arabia? And does that mean that Russia might have a huge chance now making out of Group A? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, hope to see you guys next time. And yeah.